A lesson learned. How many shares of a single stock should I buy? What's the most efficient? I'm a small investor. I've invested between $2,000 and $20,000. That's my life range over 10 years. So let's look at this here. I had a situation where I had to learn, and this here's what I come up with, one of these tables. So if I was buying in the hundreds. So if I have 100 shares and the stock goes up $1, I make $100. If it goes up $4, I'll make $400. And that's where I was at. But something that I learned is, what if I had 1,000 shares? If a stock goes up $1, I have 1,000 shares, that would be $1,000. That speaks to me more than $100 does. So this is what I call the power of 10 principle. I was buying in the hundreds, and I needed to look to the next level, which would be a power of 10 would be buying 1,000 shares. That would be more profitable for me. And I have a second table that I worked on to explain it more to me, to keep it straight. If I had $2,000 to invest, if I were to buy a stock that cost $100, I could only afford 20 shares. If the stock went up $1 gain, I would only have $20 gain. And what I like to do is also add a percent of gain to help compare numbers of different values. So if I take the gain of $20, divide it by $2,000, I would have a percentage gain of 1% for every $1 I gained. Now 1%, that's what you can earn if you have money in a bank CD. Easily earn 1%. So what if I bought a $50 stock with $2,000? I could buy 40 shares. For every dollar gain, I would gain $40. The percent of gain on a $1 is 2%. That's double what I had up there. It's more efficient use of my money. 2%. And if it goes up $4, I'd have $1,600. 4 times 4 is 16, $1,600 gain. Now, what if I bought a $20 stock? If with $2,000 to invest, the stock cost $25 or $20, I could buy 100 shares. If it went up $1, I would earn $100 for each $1 of gain, which would be 5% return for each $1 increase in gain. What if I bought a $5 stock with $2,000? I could buy 400 shares. Every $1 increase would be $400, which is percent of gain 20%. These are all numbers with the principle of $2,000. What if instead of $2,000 I had $10,000 to invest? With $10,000, a $100 stock, I could buy 100 shares. For every dollar gain, I would gain $100. $50 stock with $10,000. I could buy 200 shares. Every dollar gain would be $200, and that's 2%. Surprisingly, these are very similar. That's because you increased your principal, so it stays stays relatively the same, but that helps to evaluate. A $20 stock with $10,000 to invest would give me 500 shares. Every increase, $1 increase, would be $500 of gain, which is 5% gain. If I bought a $5 stock with $10,000 principal, that would be 2,000 shares. Every $1 gain would be $2,000. The percent of gain would be 20%. I don't know of a CD or any other investment place where you can earn 20% return on your money. So this table helped me to learn a lesson to look to the next power, to think in a power of 10, to increase your money or your shares by the power of 10. Here's the real life experience. Long boring details. If you don't like it, you might as well end watching the video now and move on. But this is a real life experience that drastically changed my production in stock investing. I was 40 years old, lost my job, went to college, got a 2-year degree from a community college, and at the age of 40, no one wanted to hire me because they didn't think an old man could take orders from someone younger. It looked like I was going to be doing temp work for the rest of my life. I was down to $2,000 in my savings, and I finally got a job with a temp service filling in for odd jobs and various work titles. So I had just started hearing about the Roth IRA. This was back in the year 2000. The Roth IRA started in the year 1997. That's where you get to you start an account that's labeled Roth IRA. That means whatever money you take out of it when you retire is tax-free. But the money has to stay in there or you'll pay a penalty until you reach retirement age. So this is for a retirement saving. But like I say, there's no taxes on your profit. Whatever profit you make, you keep. I had 2 years of previous experience investing in stocks, and if I got $1,000 gain and I sold the stock, a third of the money went to state and federal taxes. So I had $1,000 gain, $333 would go to taxes. I would only end up with $666 with $1,000, which doesn't seem fair. But the Roth IRA was what I considered, and I was thinking for retirement. Only had $2,000 left in the bank, and the choice was I was going to go for it because this probably be the last chance for several years I'd have enough money to do this. So I put the money in, and just by coincidence, when I bought the stock, which is LifeCell, it's a something to do with human health and surgery and skin meshes and all that. Sounded like a really good company for $4.50 a share. And so I thought I'd just put in $1,800 and buy the stock. Well, you don't always get your full 1,800 shares. So, or get your full amount of shares whenever you buy. So just by coincidence, it ended up being 2 buying processes in order to reach the limit. 300 the first time, 100 the second time. So we go 4 years later, from the year 2000, 2004. The stock had gone up to $10 a share, and if I sold it, the whole value would be $3,000, and the profit would be $16.50, which just about gets back my original principal of $1,800 that I put in. So for me, developing my own personal rules as a small investor, rule is don't lose your principal. So I decided what I would do is sell the $300, 300 shares, get back close to my principal that I put in so I have my money back, and I let this remaining 100 shares take all the risk. And it was at $10 a share. Well, and that was 4 years after I bought. So 8 years later, the stock went up to $50 a share. If I sold it, it would be $5,000 for the 100 shares, and that would give me a profit of $4,591. And that kind of stumped my mind to where I had 300 shares and only earned $1,600. With 100 shares, I earned $4,500. I couldn't get that straight in my mind. For the 8 years of investing, the total was $6,000. So I had to write the numbers down in order to think through a little bit more. So here I have 300 shares, $450, $13.50 was the cost. And then when I sold it at $10 a share, the total value was $3,000, profit of $1,650. The stock from $4.50 to $10 was an increase of $5.50, which would be a 122% gain on this transaction over a 4-year period. Now here's the 100 shares, $4.50. The price went up to $50.41. When I sold it, it was $5,000 total gain. And what had happened, the price had gone up $45 from the purchase price, and the gain was $4,500, which was 1,020% gain. That kind of twisted my mind a little bit to where I had to think it through. And that's when I came up with those tables to where what the key factor is. Here the stock went up $5.50. Here the stock went up $45.91. The 4 was a power of 10 higher than what this was. This was only in the single digits, 5. Here it was in the tens digit, 45. That's the principle that I came up with for the power of 10 principle. And that's when I started targeting to buy stock in the amount of 1,000 shares. Hope this helped you, and hope it didn't give you nightmares trying to think it over like I did for 3 months to come up with this.